It's a Friday edition here on Zero Blog 30, and today we have two rounds in the magazine. Round number one, a Vegas date goes horribly wrong when a woman tried getting revenge for a U.S. drone strike on Iran. And again, that happened in Las Vegas. Didn't happen in Tehran or anything like that. Vegas.
Right. It's quite the word salad there, but by Vegas standards, pretty tame. But it is a nutty story. Very exciting to get into it.
Yeah, it's a weird one. When you sent it to me, I was like, that's a weird one. I didn't
Yep.
expect that. But it's surprising. We'll get into it then. It's surprising that it took this long, right?
Yeah. Consider it a safety brief.
Yeah, it'll be a big time safety brief. And not just for us, for old Sleepy Joe, for Trump, for Obama, for Bush. It's really a safety brief for the whole squad. It's a little bit of a wake-up call. And round number two, we got a huge new bonus for anyone who wants to be a Marine. And that is just going to be not earning $200, not 300, not 500 more, folks. We're going way up. You got to bump those numbers up. You're not getting $1,000, not 50,000, not 100,000, not 250,000. If you join the Marine Corps today, you get no money.
But no money.
You get the title of United States Marine. And when you go to the grocery store, all you have to do is show them the Eagle Globe and Anchor that they pin on you after the Crucible, and they give you a dozen eggs. It's awesome.
That's right. Yeah. So it's a little bit of recruiting talk here, but as the other branches are going for bonuses, the Marines are staying strong and saying, being a Marine is enough, my friend.
Being dumb. Like, we'll get into it's either one, really. It's either really smart or really stupid.
Well, we'll get into it, but that actually worked on me. I'll tell my story.
Yeah, it worked on me too. Finally, round number three, where you sat down, Connor and I did, with the CEO of Wounded Warrior Project. If you've listened to the show for a long period of time, you've probably heard me talk shit about the Wounded Warrior Project. Like, I didn't like them at all.
I mean, they had a PR disaster, really.
Really did, yeah. And I told Connor because Connor set up the interview, and whenever he did it, I was like, you can't do this one by yourself. I need to be on, because I've talked a bunch of shit about Wounded Warrior, and I wanted to tell the CEO to his face that I have. I did, and then he flipped it around on me, and you'll see that in round number three. Let's get going with the show today. Here we go. All right. So the first thing before we get going, I need to tell you something, Kate.
Okay.
Well, you already know, but I need to tell the listener who might not follow me on Twitter or something like that. But this morning, Kelsey graduated high school early in January, which we're super proud of her for graduating early, just because she was tired of going to high school. She has everything that she needed done, and now she's trying to work full time. And there's not a lot of places that if you're 17 just out of high school that you can get a full-time job that it's like a good job. So she got a job at a fast food place that's near our house. They promised her like 35, 40 hours, which is great. She could save money before we moved to Chicago. She's excited about it. This morning I had to take her downtown. And typically I told you last week or something like that I've been making her do adult stuff, like taking public transportation, doing all that kind of shit.
And this is San Antonio.
San Antonio, right. Yeah. So she came up last night. She told me where she had to go, and I pulled it up on Google Maps to see where it was, to see how long it would take her on the bus. And I pulled it up and did Google, like, the street view, and I thought, no, she's not going by herself. Like, that's not an area of town that she needed to go to by herself. And the crazy part is when I was sitting in the parking lot of this place where she was going to get her fast food uniform, I made a TikTok about it, and I said, or an Instagram story, I said, I normally wouldn't come to do this. I want her to grow up, but I can't, because if something happens, I would feel terrible. She's small. She's cute. She doesn't need to be in bad parts of town by herself. And then I ended it. I ended the video not less than 3 minutes later. I swear, like I'll do the screen caps. Not 3 minutes later, there was a drive-by. Like she opened the door coming out that place, and it was pop, 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 pop. 6 shots, very, very close. Like, my head turned real quick. I yelled at her, get in the fucking car, slammed the door. We pulled out of there real quick. And I thought about it for a second, and I was like, man, if I'd have let her come here by herself and that happened, I don't know if I would have ever recovered. Like, how guilty I would feel, even if she wasn't injured. Just being around that as a 17-year-old girl by yourself, 17-year-old period.
Yeah.
But somebody that's like Kelsey, that's very sweet, very innocent, going up there and dealing with a drive-by, awful way to start your day. I don't recommend.
No, don't recommend. And obviously a lot of just more crazy, horrible shit going on right now across the country with guns. So
And the shitty part, really, Kate, not besides the gunshots, when I posted it on Twitter, almost everyone, like, well, not everyone, there was a ton of people that brought it to politics right away. They're like, oh, if the Dems got it their way, this wouldn't happen. Oh, if Republicans, if you didn't live in a Dem city in a red state, this would have never happened. Shut up, dude. Like, my kid was just around gunfire. I'm not wanting to hash out the Second Amendment right now. Like, that's not what we need to do. And we don't need, but we do. One thing we do need, Kate, maybe some stronger knife laws.
Stronger knife laws. Yes. This story, we'll get into this. This is from KLAS Las Vegas. And as a blogger at Barstool Sports, any big sports story gets snatched up right away by the big sports bloggers. Like any big Chicago story, the Chicago guy, like, everybody has their niche, and it's kind of hard then to find stories because there's 50 bloggers now scooping up the big stories right away. As soon as you start writing one, you see that 3 other people are writing it. So I was like, I need to find niche markets. Let me start following cities out west that no one else is following and what their news is.
Katie, Oregon is what they're calling you.
So I follow a ton of different Vegas reporters now, and a ton of different like local guides there, and a ton of different casinos and blah, blah, blah. The rest of the country, I don't think realizes shit that would make national news if it happened in like Sheboygan happens 5 times a day in Vegas. And everyone's like, oh, there they go again, being crazy over there. People are still robbing the cages at casinos every day. Like,
really?
Yes, dude. 3 different,
like the gold bars behind it where you go in to get your winnings.
Last week it happened like 5 times, and even the reporters like, crazy, this is still happening, huh? And like, dude, Vegas just
they get away with it, or they get caught right away?
No, they're getting away. Like, cars are crashing right on the strip and blowing up. Like, and to them, it doesn't even make the national news. It's just like another day in Vegas, man. And this story is no different. Here we go. Let this be a warning to anybody who you meet up with someone on Tinder or a dating app. Maybe go for coffee first. Okay.
Listen, there's a lot of people in this demographic that will meet somebody
and marry them.
They're not only that, meeting them that night. We're doing a little cunnilingus. We're doing a little bit of blowjobs. We're going back. If you get invited back, 95% of the time, you're probably going back to a room.
And I'm just saying, ladies and gents, maybe go for the coffee first. Maybe after you
or some caramels.
So a woman is accused of stabbing her date in a Las Vegas hotel room in retaliation for a U.S. drone strike that killed an Iranian leader. And hold on, I gotta say
no, keep going.
This woman is on house arrest now because she's accused of stabbing her date in a Vegas hotel. And she did this. She stabbed the guy because of a U.S. drone strike on none other than, what is it, Soleimani?
Soleimani, yeah.
Yeah, Soleimani, okay. A grand jury indicted Nika Nukubin, age 22, on charges of attempted murder with use of a deadly weapon. Henderson police arrested Nukubin. She's a University of Texas at Dallas student, by the way, in her free time, shortly after the stabbing in Vegas. Nukubin and the male victim met online on Plenty of Fish. Isn't that the Christian one?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is.
They meet on Plenty of Fish. They go straight to the hotel room. That was their first date.
Oh, yeah. Anytime you meet up on a Christian website, you're about to go at it. I mean, coming from somebody that my wife married her Sunday school teacher. So
I hate when you say it that way. There's so much more context to it than that. Nukubin, though, this woman meets this guy on Plenty of Fish, is like, meet me at this hotel room. They meet there. The pair begin having sex, basically. She puts a blindfold on the man. The man's probably laying there in this Vegas hotel bed thinking, I'm about to get my drugs on a little bit. You know what I mean?
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm about to get
brother.
Reverse cowgirled all the way to Reno right now. Okay? She turns off the lights. He's got the blindfold on. There's probably a little Barry White playing in the background. But instead of getting his ears knocked, he gets stabbed in the neck.
Yeah.
Okay? While speaking to officers, she said, they were like, "What? Why did you stab the victim?" She said, "I guess it was out of spite and revenge." The officer said, "What do you mean? Like, why?" She said, "I mean, like, U.S. killed Soleimani. Lots of blood spilled. So I feel like it's fair that American blood be spilled." That officer was probably like, what?
That's such a leap. Like, it's just an incredible... Obviously, we feel bad for the dude that lost his life, but my God,
He didn't die.
Man.
He didn't die.
Oh, he didn't. Thank God.
No, he didn't die. He didn't die. She wouldn't still. So there's more to this. By the way, Soleimani, for anyone who doesn't know, popular Iranian military officer, right-hand man to the supreme leader. Former President Trump called for his assassination to kill the number one terrorist anywhere in the world to protect American diplomats and military personnel worldwide. Okay. We drone strike the guy. And now, years later in a Vegas hotel room, some guy thinks he's getting his ding-a-ling donged, and instead he's getting stabbed in the fucking neck.
Yeah.
During a hearing on Monday with her Texas University. So she's still she stabs the guy, but I guess she's out on bail. She's still going to classes at Texas University, hanging out with people, having a good old time, and nobody knows that she's in the dark stabbing people to get revenge for Iran.
I mean, imagine she's sitting there next to you in algebra class and you had no idea. But why would the police department in Vegas contact Dallas University? I mean, why would they do that? That makes no sense either.
They said this has sparked immediate concerns for the safety of the campus along with the community, representatives said. And Judge Carly Kearney added that it appeared, so this happens in Vegas, but she's out on bail, so she's being monitored by a Dallas-based agency, like an ankle bracelet type thing, house arrest. This judge said it appeared they were only tracking her location, but not to see if she was violating curfew or other provisions. And it turns out she's been doing, she's a singer, I guess. And I looked her up on YouTube, a very bad one. So she's, her latest song is called Spaceman under the name Nika Baruch. Go look it up. But she's going out past curfew.
You think we should play a clip? Should we play a clip?
Let's play a little clip of Spaceman.
Yeah, I don't know if we're allowed to. We'll have to check it. We'll run it through our little YouTube algorithm. And if it doesn't work, you're not going to hear it. If it does work, you're going to hear it.
Yeah. So her attorney is like, well, she's staying out of trouble at least. And they're like, she's breaking curfew. The university had no idea she stabbed a guy in revenge for Iran. She like, whatever. But anyway, just let that be a lesson to you.
Yeah. No. I would have, when I first saw it, for some reason, I read it wrong. I read the article or the headline like it was her husband or a family member had been
just a random
killed
dude.
That would make a lot more sense. Like if one of our political leaders here got killed in a drone strike, I'm not going to a foreign country to avenge that, you know?
Right. And well, she's from here. She's not. Oh. She didn't like come here from Iran to stab a guy. She's from here and just felt like doing that to revenge Iran. She might be of Iranian descent. I don't know. But it's making the news because her attorneys are trying to file paperwork to get the attempted murder charge dropped. And everyone in Dallas, because it happened in Vegas, like her school, local authority, like, wait, what? What happened? What did she do? And now everyone's like, oh shit, no, we're not dropping this charge. What the fuck?
What else could the charge possibly be if you stab somebody in the neck?
I don't know. They said she only nicked him in a manner that would cause minor injuries.
You think she's got scared, pussed out at the last moment?
Maybe. I don't know. What would Soleimani think? He's probably rolling over in his grave saying
probably
that
like, if you're going to avenge me, you can't do it with but a flesh wound.
Anyway, I'm trying to think, like, I've had some weird dates, but I've definitely never gone straight to the hotel room.
Yeah.
And I've never stabbed a guy. So just something.
Not yet.
About. Not yet. Hey, life is long.
There's still time.
You're lucky.
Yeah, you got plenty. You got at least 45 years ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever stabbed anyone.
No?
I don't think so.
I've stabbed myself a couple of times accidentally when I'm cutting like a kiwi or something, but that's about it. Yeah. All right, let's move on to round number 2.
Hot round by me. Okay.
Yeah, this one. No, it's good. This one is a story that I wanted to add because it's just delusional Marines being delusional Marines. And I'm one of those. Like, if you want to talk about a Marine Corps Kool-Aid drinker, that's me. Kate, you too? Would you say that?
120 million %. When I, like, part of my plan when I dropped out of college, I was like, I know I have to have a plan B. And the only way I can redeem myself, probably because it was wartime, is like to join the military. Like, it's not even noble.
I smoked so many cigs, I gotta go to war.
It's not even like a noble, like, whatever. Like, I knew I wanted to do good and make myself better. Like, maybe there was something good in that, but like, and so my sights were set. I was like, what's the hardest branch that I know just from pop culture, American pop culture? It's the Marines. Like, that's the one. I need an ass kicking. I need to be like beat into a good person again. The Marines are the ones to do that. But my mom was like, well, I'm sure you're set on that. I don't think they really thought I was going to join, but they were like, let's at least look at the other branches before you do. She's like, I don't want you to just go sign with this one when maybe it turns out you're a better fit. The Navy recruiter was out to lunch.
Same with me. Air Force was out to lunch.
Yeah. And it was like 2:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. They were out to lunch. So the Army recruiter was there. And I specifically remember him using the selling point that, because I had said the Marine Corps is my number one. He said, you don't want to do that. Trust me. You actually have to like work at it there. We'll give you a bonus. And ours is so much easier. If you compare the two, it is so much easier to just go through Army boot camp. All that stuff is the easiest way. And as soon as he said it, even though there was a bonus and there was no bonus at the Marines, whatever, it turned me off on the Army so hard that I was like, actually, go sign me up for the Marine Corps right now. Like, that's
you're
how
a high school student or a college student. And you're like, no, dude, don't be a fucking
That's how dumb
puss.
I am. I was like, actually, I want to be a Marine more than anyone in the world right now because you just said that. Right. I was like, that makes me not want to be in the Army, regardless of the money, and I'm broke as a joke. So
that's
the
same thing that happened to me too. Like I was going to join, and because I was going to be a pastor of a church, I wanted to have experience and go have like worldly experience so I could be tougher, so people respected me. I bit off more than I could chew there. Really. I mean, ultimately, I'm glad that I did it, but that brings us to the point of what the commandant said. So, or the assistant commandant of the Marine Corps. This is a guy, if you're the assistant commandant, you've been in the Marine Corps at least 36 years. Typically, it's around 40 years when you get to that point. Like General Mattis, I believe that whenever he got out in 2019, he had joined the Marine Corps in 1989 or something like that. 1979, actually. So he had been in for a shit ton of time. Same thing with the assistant commandant here. And we've covered their recruiting problems ad nauseum here because there's just been so many, right, Kate?
Yeah, obviously huge recruiting crisis going on. But so the assistant commandant of the Marine Corps, General Eric Smith, he was at this West Naval Conference, this annual conference, and they were talking about, I guess it was like a panel or something like that, and they were talking about the strategic challenge of recruiting, but that the Marines are going to have to address the problem their own way via a route that doesn't involve stacks of money for those who join. Your bonus is what you get to call is that you get to call yourself a Marine, Smith said. That's your bonus. There's no dollar amount that goes with that. And the service's position is in stark contrast to the Navy. Navy's offering up to $50,000 and has lowered exam scores. The Marine Corps says you get nothing but the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. And I swear to God, even in like difficult times, that was the draw for me.
Not me. I mean, when I would turn down a bonus, I think it was like $5,000 or something like that. And I was like, $5,000 over the course of 5 years isn't really a whole lot of money. Like I don't need to do that. $50,000 though. $50,000 that's a lot of money, man. Like
up to $50,000. I bet very few are getting that $50,000.
That's right. Yeah,
that's but you see point. That number, you're a young 18, you're like 17, 18, you see $50,000, you go in and then they sell you on $10,000 or $5,000 or something. But you know what I mean? Like
it's like when you go into a store and they're like, we have shoes up to 75% off, and a majority of them are 15% off. Like you basically have to do intel or be like on a nuclear submarine probably to get that, or be a SEAL. Like you have to do one of the really, really tough jobs there.
Yeah. I don't fully know, but I do know like that shit works on me. Like,
I mean, I would say 80%, maybe even higher than that, of Marines join simply on the reputation of Marines. That's it.
And even after, like, I've seen the best and the worst of the Marine Corps, I feel like. And the worst is, some of the cultural things that still need to change, like, horribly. And it's, like, definitely fucked with me in a lot of ways. But at the same time, there's still this thing. It's true. There's still something about the Marines. Like, I still wouldn't want to be any other branch.
Yeah, the Marines is kind of like one of your family members is a piece of shit, and nobody else can talk bad about them. But like, you can talk as much shit, but the moment somebody else does, you're like, now wait just a goddamn minute. Like, we're not going to do that.
And I still feel a sense of pride when I get to say that I'm a Marine. Like, there's still like, and there's still this excitement that I feel when I come across a Marine out in the wild that I feel like the other branches don't have. I'm like, oh, Marine Corps, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's just something about it. Like working with that VFW down in Philly and getting to talk to those Marines, like there's something about it that I don't think this sounds so dumb, especially these times. I don't think you can put a price on it. And I do think it's worth it. Like, I think it gives you an extra judge in life, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. And if you've listened to this show too, we've talked about, we respect everybody's service. Like, no matter what branch you're in, including the Coast Guard, we're huge Coastie fans. I would never, ever denigrate somebody for the branch that they chose to go to, because that's the branch that you chose. That's the one that you love. I cannot imagine going into any other branch. Just cannot imagine it. Honest to God, before you get into it, I want to tell you a little bit about it. Was unbelievable talking to him. He was in the Army, by the way. He did an incredible job of swaying me back. So his bio is he's a lieutenant general. He serves as the chief executive officer of Wounded Warrior Project, where he's been since 2016. He had 35 years of military experience. And he had the leadership abilities and the experience to go into a position like this at the time where Wounded Warrior was having so many PR issues because of some of the things that came out. You're going to want to hear what they have to say, what they're doing, and how they're going to end up helping me and Cons with some of the organizations that we're involved in. It's great. Here he is.
All right, joining us now on Zero Blog 30, retired Lieutenant General Mike Linnington, CEO of the Wounded Warrior Project. Sir, welcome to the show.
Cons, thanks for having me on, chaps. Good to see you.
You too, sir. Glad to have you. I'm a Jacksonville boy, so your headquarters is right there in my local town. Go Jags.
I know, man. I thought we should have got Coach of the Year last night. I was a bit disappointed, but Peterson did a fantastic job.
I completely agree. 2 number 1 picks in a row, and you bring them to the second round of the playoffs. What more do you want from a guy?
Well, I'm a huge Jacksonville Jaguars fan. And my number 2 team. I'm an Eagles fan, number 1, Army fan, number 1. But I've been here 7 years now in Jacksonville, and I love the Jags, and I love the direction the team's going.
Are you sure you're just not placating to me and Con mentioning West Point and Jacksonville Jags? Like, that's our 2 things.
No, well, Cons knows I went to West Point. My wife went to West Point. My son went to West Point. My grandkids are going to West Point. They just don't know it yet. I taught math at West Point. I was commandant on the cadets at West Point.
Oh God, here we go. I always have to hear this.
He's got the right headgear on. I can tell you that.
Absolutely, I like it, sir. But I don't have any really nice things to say about the math department, other than you guys were always polite when you gave me a bad grade. But I managed to get through.
Well, I taught for 3 years and I never failed anybody. So there you go, Cons.
There you go. That's like I said, you were always all very polite about it. But the reason, we wanted to have you on, our boss, Dave Portnoy, went on the Joe Rogan podcast about a month ago now, and they were talking about philanthropy. And Dave brought up an organization, and he was hesitant to say the name because he had said he avoided the organization because of the bad press. And of course, he was talking about Wounded Warrior Project. And for those who don't remember, back in 2015, there was a lot of bad press around salaries for the leadership, wasted money on lavish events, inflated salaries, little money going to actually help soldiers, massive celebrity endorsements. And it went so far as to have a congressional hearing. So I think that really left a sour taste in everybody's mouth about the Wounded Warrior Project, to include myself and Chaps. As far as we were concerned, we're like, you know what? They're massive. They don't need our money. Let's find smaller veteran organizations that we can support. But I think you're here to kind of right that wrong and let us know that that's not the case anymore. So, sir, with that.
And before you go, sir, I was the one that told Dave, because whenever he has military issues, typically he will come to me first. My personal experiences from probably about 10 years ago, and even decently recently, has not been a positive thing. Like I told Dave, my personal experiences has not been good. And from what I hear and based on the reports, it's not good. But we understand that it's under new leadership. It's like when a McDonald's has under new management, and before you had an Egg McMuffin with a roach in it. We're hoping that you took the roach out and still made the Egg McMuffin really good. So what would you have to say to that, sir?
Well, first of all, I'll just say up front, Wounded Warrior, when I took my uniform off in 2015, after 35 years in the Army, I saw what was being reported about Wounded Warrior Project. I knew that much of that was exaggerated or not true. I welcome flights home from Iraq and Afghanistan 3 times a week, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays, right there at Joint Base Andrews. And Wounded Warrior Project was there to send those folks to the States and was there to welcome them. And I knew the great work that we had done. And that's why that's why I joined the organization. I will also tell you, when I first got here in 2016, 7 years ago, I was amazed about what was reported that was not true. I'll just tell you that today we're fantastic stewards of donor dollars. We focus on what's most important, which is caring for the wounded, ill, and injured that have said, take me, those that raised their hands since 9/11, more than 3.5 million. Today, we serve 225,000 of those in the centerpiece of those that have been, seriously injured or wounded or are sick. You guys have raised tons of awareness about veteran issues. And certainly, what's going on now with, toxic exposures and burn pits. And I think the biggest thing you guys have done, and it's really our biggest investment every year, is in the mental health needs of post 9/11 veterans. We spend more than $100 million a year in direct services and programs and mental health programs to veterans. So I guess I just want to reassure people that, a dollar given to Wounded Warrior Project goes in the right direction. And certainly back to our beginning in 2003, we're committed to what's most important, our number one priority, which is serving veterans and their families. And we're one of many, right? We're one of dozens of organizations. We partner well together. If there's one thing we're doing differently today than perhaps we did 10 years ago, is we are all in it together. And that's why I'm excited to be on the show this morning, not just to talk about Wounded Warrior Project, but to talk about kind of the village. It takes a village for all of us to serve the needs of our veterans, young and old, and help them transition to live their fullest lives. And that's about getting the benefits they've earned, healing from the wounds of war, visible and invisible, and then finally, living empowered lives with jobs where they can give back.
Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned the year that you came on, 2016, is following all this tumultuous time for Wounded Warrior Project. What brought you there then? If you saw everything that was happening in the news, you had a very decorated, honorable career in the military, in the Army. Thank you very much for your 35 years of service, sir. Why would you want to then go to an organization that's under fire and take that on?
People have asked me that question a lot, and I'll tell you, it's because I knew a lot of people that worked for Wounded Warrior Project. More importantly, I knew a lot of my soldiers, 3rd Brigade, the 101st, and those that were in Afghanistan with me from 2009 to 2011. I know that they were getting great care through Wounded Warrior Project. So I saw what was going on in the media, again, undeserved. Believe me, I was part of 3 investigations when I got here. Maybe it was aspirational on my part, but I knew we had great programs, we had great people, and there's great needs. So if you're selling a widget, right? If you're selling this bottle, if you got a great bottle and great need and good people, why not? So that's where I was. I knew what we were doing was changing and saving lives. I knew there was great need, certainly in the post 9/11 veteran space, especially in the area of mental health. And I knew we had a great team. Now, the news that was reported in 2016 for something that happened in 2014, that was unfortunate, and it was exaggerated, and it was frankly not true. And I had to go testify on it. But, bad things happen to good people. Bad things happen to good units. You both have been part of organizations or personally where, things have happened. And we had several independent reviews that came back and said, not true, not true, not true, not true. But unfortunately today, 7 years later, I'm still answering questions from what happened in 2016. Why does that bother me? It bothers me not because it was untrue, but when veterans need to get help, I want all obstacles removed from them getting that help. And if you believe an organization is not worthy or not doing the right thing, and they've got fantastic programs in mental health, physical health and wellness, financial counseling, benefits counseling, jobs programs. We serve 800 critically wounded families in their home today through our independence program. These are families with severe traumatic brain injuries, spinal cord injuries, other debilitating injuries. Those families couldn't survive without our help. So if there are families out there like that need help, an offhanded comment or stray stuff that's done in the media, it just creates another obstacle for veterans getting help. And I know that's what you guys have really aspired to. Remove all obstacles, remove all stigma, right? No wrong door. Talk to each other, talk to different organizations. We have 63 partnerships today with other veteran service organizations and nonprofit organizations that serve veterans. And we share resources, and we're all after the same thing.
I'm glad to hear
honoring those that have served and helping them heal mind, body, and spirit.
I'm glad to hear that there has been some changes, and I totally understand what you're saying about the 2016 and going back nearly a decade. We saw the same thing happen with the Starbucks hates the troops, and we know that that was from one individual email, and now it appears that they do, and that stuck around for a long time. I want to transition to some of the other veteran service organizations and how you guys are a little bit different. One of those, in my opinion, from what I observe, and I'm sure Connor has as well, is that a lot of these veteran service organizations are reactionary about what has happened in the past and what we're experiencing now. What are you guys doing to preemptively understand what the veteran community will need as the post 9/11 veterans enter in their 40s, 50s, and 60s?
What a fantastic question, chaps. It is, we just rewrote, well, we did a strategic plan when I got here for 5 years, 17 to 22. We're now focusing on 23. We're already in 23 through 27. As veterans age, young veterans aren't so young anymore, right? Our average age is about 40. It used to be, early 20s. Their needs change. And certainly I will tell you from I'll just tell you three things off the top of my head. First, toxic exposures, cancers, illnesses from being deployed. By the way, you were a dog handler, so you know it firsthand, right?
Right.
We train our dog handlers in burn pits sometimes. We just lost one of our veterans. He passed away in July of last year. He was a dog handler and an EOD expert, and he was undiagnosed. Went to the doc over and over again. Came home in 2012. He wasn't treated till 2020, and then it was too late, and he passed from stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Right. So what are we doing? So with passage of the PAC Act, which we were a big advocate for, we're helping veterans address those needs, especially in the areas of health, toxic exposures, mental health. You guys have spoken about it at least a dozen times on your show, right? No wrong door, no stigma. Sometimes you have a plan when you take off the uniform. You're going to go back to school, you're going to get a job, maybe you're just going to live off your disability benefits. And then all of a sudden things start changing. The trauma you faced in combat, okay, now starts to affect your personal life or your livelihood or your ability to get through school. And now you need some assistance. By the way, if you or I broke our arm or fell down the stairs, we'd be at the ER tonight, right? But yet facing incredible trauma, abnormal situations like we were all exposed to, where you're, watching a buddy get killed next to you, or you're going to the after effects of an IED, or for God's sake, you have to take action in combat that are not within the value system that you were raised with as a kid to protect your own troops. Those things happen. So we have to address the stigma of mental health. I will tell you, we're in a much better place today with reduced stigma than we were just 5 years ago, but we still have a long way to go. 17 a day is way too many, right? Homeless veteran, that should be an oxymoron. We should not have homeless veterans. So we're really focused on mental health, and that's our biggest investment. Of the more than $200 million a year, we invest in programs. Mental health is half of that. So it's our biggest. And I'll tell you, the third area is blast injuries. Blast injury, successive, concussive. I finally got that done without stumbling. Successive, concussive injuries, like other CTE high profile events, are today a much greater prevalence of traumatic brain injuries. Not always in combat, some of it in training, right? Folks in training bases and with successive concussive injuries, and TBI, mild TBI turning into something more serious. We're really focused on the research to help those veterans get the diagnostics done now. And even for those on active duty, we're doing a lot in the TBI space today, because operators in particular, SOCOM guys and gals, they want to stay deployable. So we have a variety of programs in the TBI space that help them get the diagnosis they need, take advantage of the benefits they've earned, and then make sure that they're either protected from further concussive injuries or have the surveillance in place that they don't let it go 4 or 5 years if things start going south. But again, some of that's normal aging. But I will tell you, for veterans that have been deployed, that have been through IED. I mean, I talk to veterans every day that have. Well, I got blown up 6 times. I got blown up 8 times. Or in training, I fired the Gustav 20 times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, did you have the right protection, ear pro? Does it even matter when you're that close to it?
No.
It doesn't matter. Right, exactly.
No. I mean, that's just, come on, sir. Let's put the general stuff down. That
right. And by the way, you know where, because you can't hear your buddy next to you. Right. I know. Exactly.
Yeah. And I had forgotten about the burn pit stuff where we went in with dogs. Oh my God, man. Like, I had completely forgot that we did that. Like, because they would place IEDs inside trash. The dog handlers, the supervisor were like, well, let's go down to the burn pits. There's so much trash there. Let's bury some C4, see if they could find it. Cause that's how we adjusted our training. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, sir.
Listen, we just profiled, again, we profiled a warrior, Marine veteran, Scott Evans. And I just ask your readers, go read Scott Evans' story. Scott Evans, amazing Marine. He was an EOD guy, dog handler. 2 deployments within 5 years. Came home, coughing, didn't feel right. Took him 10, 15 years to get the help he needed. Kept getting turned away. Finally, when he just finally demanded he get seen, he got treated. But by then it was too late. 2020, he just passed away in July. Luckily, he ensured that his family was taken care of, and we helped him through the last couple of years of his life, extended his life. But this is the tsunami that's coming at us. I'll just tell you, this is coming. So God bless our government for finally passing the PAC Act in the 117th Congress. Took us 4 years to get there, and in fact, another Navy corpsman served with the Marines. My guy in DC, he just sent me a really good note that he said, for all your viewers, make sure they know that the PAC Act legislation, I'll look at my phone here, benefit claims under the PAC Act for toxic exposure must be filed by August 10th, 2023 to get their claim backdated to when the law was passed in August of 2022. And for healthcare, post 9/11 combat vets discharged over 10 years ago need to be enrolled in VA healthcare before October 1st, 2023, or they will get caught up in a complicated phased-in process. So for all the veterans, and I know most of your listeners are veterans, if you're a post 9/11 combat vet discharged more than 10 years ago, please enroll in VA healthcare by 1 October. This year.
We follow it pretty closely. I had no idea that was the requirement there. We need to get with the VA and have like different sign up things that we do, and like have like a live show type thing where people
like a sign up fair or something. Yeah, but I mean, sir, you make a great point there, and Chaps kind of touched on it a little bit. Now, all these post 9/11 veterans, there's going to be a massive, massive wave of us who are starting to age. I'm approaching 40. I hate to say it, but I'm approaching 40. And, you're approaching time in your life where health issues, health concerns become more prevalent. You talk about investment. Why, after 20 years, does the Wounded Warrior Project need help from us, from veterans, from, any other regular Joe on the street? When, we see the Wounded Warrior Project logo on NFL Sundays, it seems like you all are doing pretty well. Why would you still, and I kind of maybe know the answer, but why would you need our help when it seems like you have the investment and the funds necessary to continue to operate?
Yeah. I'll just tell you, Cons, it takes a village. It takes organizations, big organizations to support smaller organizations. I mean, I'll be upfront with you. We support more than 60 other veteran service organizations, smaller than ours, certainly. Mm-hmm. And it really takes awareness. I mean, to coin an old adage, it does take a village. It takes And people ask me this all the time. Why do we even have veteran service organizations? Isn't this the responsibility of the government? Yeah, it sure is. Absolutely. That's why you got the Department of Veterans Affairs. That's why you got Department of Labor. That's why you got DOD. But we all know that when especially Guard and Reserve, when they serve and they go home, they're scattered to the four winds, and the VA isn't everywhere. And sometimes the frustration for getting healthcare through the VA or knowing what's available to you, you don't worry about it until you need it. And sometimes then it's too late. So, right. And it is about connection as well. We do 8,000 connection events across the country every year. In fact, we've got one here this morning. I just said goodbye to a group of 40 wounded warriors and their spouses that were going out on a 20-mile adaptive cycling ride through Jacksonville, and they're going to show up here. So if you hear rock music firing up in about 10 minutes, that's what it is.
If you're in Jacksonville, it better be Leonard Skinner or exactly. Limp Bizkit.
It's probably Leonard Skinner.
There you go. I have one more question about
those events are meant to, rekindle, like you guys are doing through your podcast, the camaraderie, cohesion. If you've ever read Sebastian Junger's book, Tribe. It's right. It's Tribe. It's reestablishing your tribe. And by the way, once you got your posse or your tribe, then we establish those personal relationships with the warriors we serve. And then we help them connect with other areas that they might not know they're eligible to take advantage of. That's mental health. That's financial counseling. That's physical health and wellness, right? Believe it or not, 10 years after active duty, you gain a few pounds and you don't eat as well. And maybe
believe
you're not
me, I know,
sleeping.
sir.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say, you listening, Cons?
Yeah. So that's why we're doing Soldier Ride right now. With Soldier Ride comes, we have an incredible physical health and wellness program. It's active coaching. It's remote. It's in person. We do adaptive sporting events all over the country. Others do as well. We love partnering with them. We get you the benefits you've earned through your service, and then we find you employment. And employment is more than a job, it's a career. And of course, you all know all the organizations, Hiring Our Heroes, all the rest of them. We're all in it together because, what we do here in Jacksonville and 25 other locations across the country, right? We're an organization of 800 full-time employees and thousands of volunteers in 25 cities. That's scale, brother. That's scale. So, but we're not everywhere. But where we are, we want to make sure that we have relationships with the VA and other nonprofits in those areas so that we can all share what we bring to the table together to help veterans.
Right. We all got to be, forgive me for using I guess a Navy-ish term here, but we all got to row in the same direction. That's big of me. That's big of me.
And think about the statistics. And post-World War II, we had 133 million people in our population, and we had 16 million in uniform. Almost 25% of military-age men were in the Army or the Navy, none in the Air Force because we didn't have an Air Force. When you came home, everybody came home together. Your neighbors, your brothers, you were all in it. Today, 1.2 million in the active component and 1 million in the reserve component out of a population of 330 million. Less than a half of 1%. Right. So when you come home, many times your neighbors have an experience with, I'm preaching to the choir. You guys know this exactly. That's why you're doing what you're doing. And I just love the fact that Barstool has invested in veterans like you have to keep it going, man. We got to keep it going. Despite not seeing the trauma of war today, right? We're out of Afghanistan. The needs will continue. And we all have to continue to support organizations like ours, like yours, that continue to keep veterans connected and get them the care and benefits they've earned.
Well, I will say the 35 minutes that we've had you on before Connor gets to his rapid fire round, unlike Martin Luther with his 95 Theses, I will recant. And I will say that I'm back on the side of Wounded Warrior. So, Mike, we appreciate you coming on. Cons, if you want to take your rapid fire questions, let's do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, sir. I think it was great to have you. Great to clear the air about Wounded Warrior Project. Awesome to hear all the great work that you continue to do. And it's very comforting knowing that it's back under good leadership. And to that end, you were in the Army for 35 years. So I'm just going to hit you with a few rapid fire questions if you don't mind.
Okey-doke. Go ahead.
35 years. All right. Favorite duty
Don't
station?
ask me who won Army Navy in 2005 because it wasn't a good game.
No, I remember. Believe me.
Is that the year that Connor Kerr started? Is that what they're
no,
calling
the
it?
Connor, you called it that started in 02, Chaps. 05 was my senior year when I cried in a locker for 45 minutes afterwards, but we don't need to get into that. All right, sir. Favorite duty station?
You're going to think this is crazy, but Korea. I did 3 years as battalion commander in Korea. Talk about tight as a unit. It was single soldiers for the most part, up close to the DMZ, infantry brigade, light infantry, trained hard, amazing. I would say 2 tours in combat with 3rd Brigade of the 101st as a brigade commander. Greatest honor of my life was OIF1 and OEF1. So being a part of a brigade combat team that did back-to-back deployments within 6 months, and the second deployment in Iraq was a 15-month deployment. And as you know, it started out as, you might be there 6 months and it turned into 15 months. So those were the two. I mean, they're all different, and I was certainly changed in different ways by them, but that's the two that pop off my top of my head.
Okay. Now, aside from soldiers and their great families, favorite person you've met through your 35 years of the Army and now Wounded Warrior Project?
And don't say us.
Yeah.
Well, I will just tell you, I've met so many amazing Wounded Warriors alumni at Wounded Warrior Project. In fact, I don't know if you can see behind me, but I put this thing up here. These are the 4 veterans I met my first day here on July 19th, 2016. The resilience of young men and women that, have been wounded and continue to serve and give back. I mean, we've got 110 volunteer-led peer support groups all over the country, not paid employees, volunteers. Every month, every couple of weeks, they get together. I mean, it'll be a Starbucks or a VFW hall or something with pizza and sodas, taking care of each other, checking on each other. I mean, that's what makes a difference. I would just say our warriors, those we serve. I mean, a lot of other senior folks were instrumental in my development, but today it's got to be our veterans.
All right. Favorite military movie?
Military movie. Tom Hanks, of course.
Oh, Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan.
Okay.
By the way, I met Tom Hanks. He's just
there you
incredible.
Go. That is fantastic. And then last one, sir, because we
Forrest Gump, not a military movie, but Gary Sinise's pretty special person also.
Absolutely, right. Especially what he's done, beyond that movie.
I talk to him all the time. In fact, I just talked to him yesterday. He is an American hero, patriot, Thayer Award winner, West Point. In fact, I was there in 2008 as commandant when he came and entertained the troops, and I was there in 2015 when he performed at the Warrior Games. Another big thing that Wounded Warrior Project is involved in.
Yeah, I would say that between Gary Sinise and Jon Stewart, those are the 2 celebrities that have really, really made a difference in the veteran community.
Absolutely.
Chaps, I'm glad you said that, because let's make no mistake, without Jon Stewart, the PAC Act was in jeopardy. Yeah, that's right.
All right.
We needed a celebrity spokesperson, and he was perfect.
Right? Absolutely. All right, sir, last one. Favorite quote or axiom? We have a lot of younger leaders that listen to the show, but what's your favorite quote about leadership?
I would probably say, I've heard it attributed to everybody from President Washington to Ronald Reagan, but it goes somewhat along the lines of, it's amazing how much you can get done if you don't care who gets the credit. And I believe that's true. I believe that's true in any walk of life, whether it's civilian life, military life. Think of your most inspirational NCOs that, by the way, mine was First Sergeant Robert H. Horton. Robert Horton was my first sergeant when I was a brand new company commander in Berlin in 1985 while the wall was still up. Wow. He was more instrumental in my development than any other officer or NCO I've ever met.
That's fantastic. All right. Well, sir, again, thank you so much for your service to this country. Thank you so much for taking time to chat with us. all the work you do with Wounded Warrior Project and the work that you will continue to do. We greatly appreciate it.
Cons, chaps, thanks very much. Thanks for what you guys do. It's super important that you keep it up, guys. And by the way, I'll just, for you and your listeners, use Wounded Warrior Project as a resource. We have an excellent website that folks can go to get assistance in the areas I talked about. woundedwarriorproject.org, woundedwarriorproject.org, or call our website or call our resource center.
Awesome. All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Fellas, I salute you. Thank you for your service, both of you.
You as well, sir.
All right, sir.
All right, let's move on to some save rounds and alibis. Kate, what do you have?
My butthole's still out. It's like saying like bridge is out, butthole's out. You're gonna have to go around, my friends. It is.
The old drawbridge is closed.
Ah, man, I was not prepared. Anyway, my eye's going wacky. My butthole's out. Great interview, by the way. What a great.
Thank you.
Anyway, do I have anything else right now? Still recovering from the Eagles loss and all that razzle dazzle. Long weekend coming up for us. We got a 96 here at Barstool Sports. They gave us Friday off,
which is kind of funny, right? Like we still got to do everything that we got to do. Like there's, I think it's more for the business side. We still have the shit that we need to do. But working here and complaining about that should not be something
crazy.
That you do. Yeah, we should not do that at all. I don't really have anything either as far as save rounds. I'm excited to go to this. I've talked about it a bunch, but I'm making a lot of plans, meeting people, possibly the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, bunch of other folks. They're hopefully we'll be able to connect you with interviews and you'll be able to hear all that. But either way, Connor will be back on Tuesday's show. He had to do some stuff. He's in DC at Capitol Hill right now, actually.
Yeah.
So he'll be back. Tell us about all that and we'll see you then. It's on the retreat.